Peace. Nicks and bruises. We are back. Shout out to the chat. I got Shuttle in the building. DJ Shuttle in the building.
Oh boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yo, Black, it's time. Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys for joining me. Shout out to y'all. HP, Carlos, King Ribby, David L. Who else I seen in there? JJ, Ralph Unreal, Kareem. Salute to y'all guys. Appreciate y'all. Um, what's good with you, brother? How's your day?
Man, everything good, man. I'm still recovering from this rotator cuff surgery. So,
Mm.
I'm making it look cool, but this arm is still, it's still a work in progress.
No doubt. Speedy recovery for you, man. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. I remember when you just said it because I had the little joke with the
Yeah. Yeah.
Nah, speedy recovery, man.
Back to therapy tomorrow, you heard?
I hear you.
Doing my exercises at home, man. It's you get a whole different appreciation for this is my first procedure of any kind. So definitely got a whole different perspective for athletes that are, like a Randle that had a surgery or had a procedure or had an injury and now is trying to play with it and come back. Like I could barely lift my arm and it's 30 days later, you know. So yeah, man, but we striving though. We're gonna be past this in a minute.
No doubt. But what's going on today? Oh, here come the queen. Give her a second. I think she ready. All right. Got the queen in the building as well. Salute, queen.
Salute to you, DJ Shuttle. How y'all doing?
It's been a minute.
All right.
Been a minute. How you been? And you know what's new? I see you got the call in. You know what I mean? I just missed you going live on the call in show. I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah. That's the what's going on? The I Cram to Understand You series, and
Okay.
we just taking like divisive topics and players, even Tibbs, and just giving fans an opportunity to call in, just so we can understand. No pushback, because I'm the queen of the pushback. No pushback. Just trying to understand where fans are coming from. So we doing Mitchell Robinson this coming Tuesday.
Oh, that should
Okay.
That should have lots of back and forth.
That's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night at 8:30. And I'm doing is I'm doing it across my platforms. I have a newsletter now, so I'll write in my newsletter my take on it. Then I'll do an audio podcast with somebody for or against the person. I'll do that, and then we'll do the call-in show.
Well, I should be free tomorrow night, so I got to open in the morning. So hit me up.
Okay, for sure. And if I forget, because my condition,
I'll text you. I'll text you early. Give me one.
You know my condition. Now I already learned. So now I got stuff on my 5 o'clock rotation now.
Yes.
Yeah, she's on the 5 o'clock, 7 p.m., 7:30 rotation. She get the alerts. If she's busy, that's one thing. But I'm gonna try to get the alerts to her.
So I did not get your take on the Josh Hart contract because no, I missed if you talked about it and I think you missed my show. So what was your thoughts on it?
I didn't even know we was. I didn't even know we was live. Salute to the chat. I thought we were still behind the scenes. I'm glad I didn't say. Let me see. I'm glad I didn't say anything about JJ or Kareem Grant or Knicks are nice. No, okay. I'm a big Josh Hart fan. So in a vacuum, whatever you give him, you give him. My concern is always that salary cap, that first tier, that second tier, and we keep doling out 20 and 25 million. When we hit those tiers, are we going to have a team that's good enough? That's the only thing I'm worried about. Other than that, as far as Josh Hart, the player, I'm very, very high on him. I think some players fell off, and some fans was disappointed in his playoff performance against Miami. Oh, he got exposed. He's not as good as we think. I think he's still that guy. To me, he can be an elite role player on a championship contending team. I feel like he can have that type of impact. So I'm super excited that the Knicks locked him up. And then I learned today that the last year is not guaranteed. So basically it's 3 years, 58 million. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. That was the I've been trying to get Josh on since the contract
right,
before I heard about that part. You know what I mean?
right,
But
right,
I hit him up about that part. He still ain't happy with it. We'll get his take eventually.
right.
There's a controversy coming. I know it. But let me ask you this, and you both could answer. What do you think? And we're gonna jump around. I'm gonna ask you this question, and we'll get into RJ's performance. But what do you think Hart has to gain from this USA Olympic team? Because
That's a good point.
he is not going to be anything. I'll let you answer, and then I'll give my critique. I'll say that because I couldn't really come up with something.
Right, right. That's a good question because I don't even think he's playing that much, or at least in the first 2 games, he hasn't played that much. Um, Maybe it's just being around. I don't even want to say greatness because that's not like tier one guys in the NBA. Um, I'm not sure. That's
All right.
uh that's a good question.
Shuttle, if you want to answer it, you can answer it, or you can sit on it. When we get into Team USA and Brunson, we come back to it because it just popped into my head, but I couldn't come up with a real answer. And
I don't think it's anything that's very. It's not like for Brunson where it's catapulting him into um, household name, if you will, or
Mhm, mhm.
making it clear this is as an all-star level player. I don't think it's anything like that, but I think he's the type of guy that he's like a tier one glue guy. I think just the relationship building, having him alongside Brunson is like having your homie with you when you're on the road. You know what I mean? So like you get the residual impact for Brunson and for the Knicks team more so than him more so than for him individually. And I think people around the league already know what type of dude he is. So I don't think there's anything for him to really gain per se. He got his contract now. I mean, there's not really a lot left. So right now, him being there is more of a benefit to Brunson and to the rest of the team for the Knicks. Let's get the recruitment going.
I yeah, we're gonna talk about that too for sure. Um, yeah, I like what you said about him being like the ultimate glue guy. Even on this team, because that's what I feel like his role is. You need guys like that on the team. He may not see minutes, like Queen pointed out. He may not even play in a certain game here or there, and we'll get into that when we talk about USA. Let's talk about RJ Barrett and his I don't know if you want to call it breakout performance. Is definitely a dominant performance all across the board. Honestly, going did you get to see the game, Queen?
I didn't see. I
No
didn't see the game. I just saw highlights. Did
highlights.
you talk about Spain? You talk about Germany?
Germany, correct.
No, I didn't see the game.
Game where he brought the game into overtime. You know what I mean? Came back clutch down that, and then scored I think 5 points in the overtime for the win. And as much as people are saying, oh, it's exhibition, these games don't mean anything. I can only imagine. I mean, I'm born here, but playing for my country, whatever country it is, that has to be meaningful. You know what I mean, in its own right, just as meaningful as making it to the league, or you know what I mean, getting your shot in summer league to try to get into the league. It's recognition, right? Because only a select few players even get to be there, and yeah, the games don't mean anything, but the preparation does, and there's only so much you can do just playing against your own teammates. It's now that's time to show off, show off what you learned, show off what you've been working on, and yeah, just shout out to him for coming up big and having a dominant performance. I'll let you guys give your takes on what you saw, highlights of the game, and I'll come back to it.
Yeah, I just want to say that while I didn't see the game, I did see the highlights. So the box scores. I could only throw my hands up in admiration and saluting him for it, because if it's another 12-point performance, shooting 5 of 11 from the field, and so forth and so on, like right now, it's like it could only get worse for RJ. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy for it to get worse and a lot harder for it to look good. So he needs several of these performances I think, to kind of get people to be pulling him off of the hot seat, so to speak, a little bit. Because I think RJ's on the hot seat, as far as I'm concerned. For the Knicks, he's on the hot seat. So I think a few performances like this can at least maybe give us, a little bit more confidence prior to the season. And yeah, it's exhibition. It's not the real games and all that, but still, a game is a game. Germany's got some quality players, but let's see what happens when the real tournament starts.
Fair. Queen.
I'm not surprised at, I see RJ, I consider him a clutch player, because I've seen him not shoot well in games and then come up big in the fourth quarter with a big shot. I've seen him, for the most part, not have a great season, though he had stretches in which he was really good, and then come up big in the playoffs. So I'm not surprised that he played well down the stretch, got them into overtime. I was really, when I was looking at the highlights, I was looking at how was he getting his shots, because I was just thinking about, is there anything, new, or is there anything that I could be hopeful for that he'll bring back to the Knicks? The shot looked right. That catch and shoot shot looked right. And I just feel like when he's in that second unit, obviously he can show more of his skill set. But when he's in that starting unit with Brunson and Randle, he gets a lot of open opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's knocking down that shot, that's going to work well for us. He was finishing at the rim. If he does that, that's going to bode well for us. And he was driving and dishing, something that we saw more of in the playoffs as well. If he continues to do that, that bodes well for us. So I know people want him to have a mid-range and this. I just want whatever he's been doing to just do it at a higher level, because that's how that's him. That shooting a three and taking a shot beneath the free throw line. That's RJ Barrett. Just do it at a higher level.
100%. It's funny. Two things. I was talking with my friend. He asked me, why do Knicks fans hate RJ Barrett, right? And to me, well, what I responded to him was, it's mostly because he doesn't have any flash at all, right? He doesn't play above the rim. So he's not gonna dunk on somebody. He doesn't have the fancy dribble. He's not gonna like cross somebody and like make them fall. You know what I mean? And then obviously he's not a sniper. So they that's what people are missing. You know what I mean? Especially, I mean, we don't have it on the team, to be honest, right? So that's what I think a lot of people really want to look for in that superstar. They're not really looking at what individuals do and what they're good at. I'm mad because I just finished watching you and Sim show yesterday, and you guys touched on a lot of the things that I was gonna come on here and say about RJ Barrett. Number one, when you spoke about his trainer and what they was working on, and like you just said, it's the things that he's already good at, right? It's improving on those or perfecting those things. A lot of the times, those are the things that, number one, that's what got you here, right? Because that's what you were good at coming into the league. You talk about as a rookie how strong he was, able to really play with the modern NBA veteran and surprise them with his strength, right? It wasn't because he was jumping over them and flying over them. It was because of his strength. But obviously, as time went on, everybody's getting stronger year in and year out. That needed to be a focus of his. If you notice, I think he's a lot bigger this year. So I think that's one thing that a lot of people have noticed and said, "Oh, well, he's already slow. He doesn't need to get bigger." But he was slow when he came in the league, right? I don't think it's gonna make him any slower. Another thing that his trainer said he was working on is the burst, right? And getting rid of the shiftiness and working on the burst, because now, as slow as he is, people already know that and expect that. What they're not expecting is the burst into the finish, burst into the finish. So I think that is going to help his efficiency. And if he continues just to play his game and be who he is, and then that three ball does just, I mean, if it just gets to league average, I think he's fine. He's been putting up very good numbers, not statistically, but not efficient wise. So if he just works on the efficiency, his numbers could skyrocket, but they don't need to. Maybe his shots go down, but if the efficiency is the focus, I think we have a whole different story. You know what I mean? And then if obviously the people forget about expecting from him the out of this world highlights of dunking on people and crossing people over and just hitting 10 threes or something like that. Respect who he is, and I think we'll be fine. No, go ahead.
But a lot of fans liked RJ Barrett before this past season. So and he was never flashy, but he had a remember the arguments about RJ Barrett and his ceiling. I think he had a really big fan club and following, despite the fact that he wasn't shifty or fast. I think the fan base may have soured on him because maybe their expectations was too high of him. Um, and and then there was always the hope that he would improve. It was always the hope, the efficiency is going to get better. Come on, he's 19. All right, he's 20. All right, he's 21. All right, he's 22. So it was always that he's going to get better. The efficiency is going to get better. Now he's entering year 5. And I think the fan base now is I'm not going to say realizing that he's not going to improve much, but they're not seeing the improvement that they expected, and I think that's why a lot of fans are down.
Or down on him.
I think so.
Let me know. Let me know in the chat, man. Are you team RJ or not? Because it really feels like
this is black and white. Just team RJ.
Yeah, team RJ or not. I mean, because it feels like he's entering the stage of getting the Randle treatment, this year. It feels that way. Like he's the next one in line. I thought we wouldn't see it unless Randle was gone, but I don't know. I've seen a big turn in his fan base. You know what I mean? Or his fan base is not as vocal as they always been. Is one or the other.
He's earned it. He's earned it. This is back-to-back seasons, back-to-back subpar, inefficient seasons. And then while he gets some credit for doing better in the playoffs this year, I mean, for the team to be a close to 51 team and almost I don't know if it'd be fair to say the team was really this good in spite of your performance. Like the team wasn't this good this past year because RJ, he flourished, or there was a run where he won us 5 out of 7 games in a 7-game win streak, because he was explosive. So
but I think there was.
Before he got injured.
I think the problem with RJ is the depth of the roller coaster. His lows are so low, and people tend to harp on how low his lows are. If you, I'll give you a I wish I had the numbers, but look at how everybody talks about RJ and his playoff performance, right? And even some of the RJ haters will still say, all right, he did good in the playoffs. The funny thing is, if you look at the numbers side by side, his numbers are not even better. They're just, I'll give it equal. You know what I mean? But they're actually a little bit lower than his regular season numbers. So what does that tell you about how people feel? If he is just consistent in how he performs, and the lows aren't so low to where he has to climb up to such a level to even bring it to the numbers that he ends up with, you know what I mean? If he could kind of get rid of the lows, the low lows, I think he'll be fine. And I think that's the real issue. Like, because even I came on here and said, "Oh, RJ, you know what I mean? He turned it on in the play." No, he didn't. Like, he was just consistent.
Well,
He,
Nah,
he was who he averaged out to be all season.
he averaged no, the points per game were the same. The field goal percentage was slightly higher. 3-point percentage was slightly higher, and I just think he impacted winning more in the
right.
playoffs. He impacted winning more than he impacted winning in the regular season.
I, I
So
mean, I think that's where you gotta differentiate. I think the really issue is how low his lows are. He's had moments in the regular season where he's impacted winning. There's no doubt about it.
no
You know what I
question.
mean? Like, I just feel like it's always that uphill battle. Even the fact that he tends to start off the season slow. Like last year, we was talking about that as a thing. A month, 2 months into the season. All right, don't worry. He always starts so slow. Now it's 3 months, 4 months. It's like, all right, how long are we gonna use this excuse? The season's like we mid-season now. So I mean, it's really that part, I think. And
I think okay, go ahead, finish.
no, go ahead. I'm kind of
I think the stats don't tell the story. I think the stats were the same in the playoffs, but I think that it didn't tell the story of how he stepped up for us. It evened out to the same, but it was more compact because it was only 15 games, right? So there was one game against Cleveland in which he really kept us in the game in that first quarter. Forgot, I think it was Cleveland, in the first quarter. It averaged out to the same, but it looked different. His floor game was different too, in
I'm
terms
I'm
of
not
being able.
I'm not disputing it. I feel like he was at his best in the playoffs. I agree with that 100%. Like the best. I mean, we've seen a little bit better from him, but you know what I mean. Like the best RJ we've seen in the regular season, he was that throughout the playoffs. That's my my
Right, right.
my my
But
point.
this is the thing. This is the thing with RJ, the defense, the finishing at the rim, the catch and shoot threes. It's the same. Like I'm not even looking at his counting stats. He 19 points, 5 rebounds, three assists. I'm looking at, are you hitting these open opportunities you getting off of Brunson and Randle? You're so strong, you get into the rim at will. What what's the issue with finishing at the rim? You know what I mean? Like you came in saying you wanted to be a two-way player. In your first year, I saw some of that. In your second year, I saw more of that. What happened? So I just feel like that in his skill set, those individual pieces of his game, not the overall scoring, right? Just those individual pieces of his game. Can he, to your point, be consistent in those areas? In those areas. Because if he can, the Knicks are a better team right away. Right
100%.
away, the Knicks are a better team.
My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, Shadow. I just had to remember that I realized that the numbers were identical,
No,
and
it's
I was one saying the same thing.
it's cool. Actually, while you while y'all were both talking, I was just comparing the numbers, and you're right. The numbers are the same. He shot a little bit less in terms of field goals. It's like 1.5 less shots a game. That's one of the things that I'd love to see. I'd love to see him shoot 2 less shots per game, but make 1 more shot per game. Like that would be a tremendous upstick in his field goal percentage. And maybe those 2 shots go to Grimes, and we get him a few more shots in the game. But yeah, it just seemed like he impacted winning more in the postseason. And winning plays are winning plays, whether it's the hockey assist or the rotation on the defense. He just seemed to be better locked in. But to your point, his lows were so low. It's hard to forget those lows, and it makes it feel like it's maybe even worse than what it is. But 43% is not going to do it in year 5. We're gonna need 45% or higher, and let's get that done. 45% from the field and 35% from 3. I'll take that upstick.
Oh, you muted, Queen.
I was gonna say shout out to C-Mac, but I don't see how switching from the 2 to the 3 has anything to do with missing wide open shots. I don't get it.
Do you think it affected him defensively? Being
guarding 3s as opposed to guarding 2s.
Yeah, like maybe the strength, even the strength difference. You know what I mean? In certain areas, obviously, I know a lot of the league is interchangeable and so forth, but
switching on the wing. I just think the 2s on average are smaller and quicker than the 3s. So, I mean, I'm not sure if he would have been able to defend the 2s any better.
Yeah. Shout out to the chat. I see who else? Kerry Cox. What he said?
No, Kerry Cox got it lit.
He says RJ still the highest potential upside out of all our youth.
Yeah, just that power forward. Just that power forward.
That's interesting.
I think he has the highest floor 100%. Like I think he could still, no matter what happens, be a 10-year, 12-year, you know what I mean, longevity player in the league and still be useful. But as far as the highest, when you say highest potential, yeah, I don't know. Nope, I disagree.
Yeah,
what do you guys think?
I disagree, but I do want to say something about the floor, though. Usually, guys with high floors, there's something in their game that you can count on game in and game out. A lot of RJ's scoring has to do with the fact that he has high usage and he's averaging 16 shots a game. If you're going to be in the league for 10 years, what are you hanging your hat on? You're a defensive player. You're an all-around type player. Like what is it that you do that you can hang your hat on? And if RJ is not given this opportunity where he's 16 shots a game, what is he hanging his hat on as far as the floor? As far as the ceiling, I got to say, Tony.
Wait, real quick. The only difference is I feel like that's been a crutch for him. You know what I mean? I feel like if he knew like he had to produce because he's only getting 5 minutes a game through, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'll just throw that in there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
As far as the ceiling, I'm going with Quick.
Yeah, I'm on record. That's yeah, I agree. What do you think, Shadow? Grimes got the highest IQ? The highest, highest potential. My bad.
It's hard to say. Out
of our young guys,
I think it might be. I think it might be quickly. I mean, I just think it might be quick. I think you know what it is. I try to like with a question like that. You have to, and to your point about everything with RJ, I was been saying that like he's no threat to sit him on the bench. So you get a threat. Let's see what you really do. And now with Hart being here, let's see what happens. We saw a little bit of that this past year, fourth quarter end of games. RJ's on the sideline watching, clapping. So we'll see how that turns out this year. But you take RJ and you put him on a lot of these other teams. What is he really contributing? What is he really doing? Then same thing. You take Quickly and you put him on a lot of teams. What is he really doing? So, I mean, if anything, Quickly at this point looks like he's ready to traject at a higher point than RJ, because Quickly's you've seen consistent growth in his game and what he's brought to winning to the team, whereas RJ, it's a question mark. It's not that he couldn't be higher. It's not that he can't do it. It seems like it's possible, but I'm definitely not betting the house on it.
Right. And Quickly didn't, as shout out to Nick So Nice. I appreciate you. That Quickly was a no-show in the playoffs. He struggled in the playoffs. But for me, this is his third season. To me, it doesn't affect how I project his ceiling. He struggled in the playoffs. It happens. I don't see that being his calling card of somebody who struggles in the playoffs.
And I'll go even further. If he was available, I still wish he was playing. You know what I mean? Down the stretch. Remember, he got hurt and couldn't even play the last 2 games. So I would have preferred him, even with him struggling, being the threat he is on the floor, than him being unavailable. Because that's how bad our shooting was anyway.
Well, yeah. The only thing I'll say to that is we definitely needed the body, and I'm hoping that maybe he would have got better as time went on. But
the game he got hurt was arguably his best game. Yeah, I mean, he was on his way. I mean, that's the way I was looking at it. I was tight. He was unavailable. My bad.
No. That's fine.
Yeah, so I would have been, if I had to pick one, I would be picking Quickly. I mean, I could just see him stepping into a handful of teams, like replace Westbrook and put him on the Clippers, or I know they just got Schroeder, but put Quickly on the Raptors instead of Schroeder. You know what I mean? You could put him on. You could put him on quite a few teams. And it would, I could see the immediate, impact from a benefit to those teams versus with RJ. I see him on a lot of teams as a bench player.
Wow.
Am I lying? Am I saying something wrong?
At this point, I mean, I want to be clear. I'm talking about the RJ we've seen up to this point. I'm not talking about who RJ could potentially be. But for what we've seen this point, I don't think you're far off.
I mean, this is just Tobias Harris. Are you benching Tobias Harris and playing RJ? Probably not. And that's not saying that Tobias Harris is, A1 steak sauce or nothing like that. But, I'm probably gonna play Tobias over RJ. Am I crazy?
I would look for a way to play them together.
No.
You got Randle playing.
No.
I didn't know you. I didn't know you was talking about like just adding him here.
Yeah,
adding Tobias here. I thought I was just saying.
This guy slick. This guy slick, Steph. You see him?
Which one is that?
Tone.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm just saying he's more seasoned. Yes, I would, but I like Harris at the 4. That's my only dilemma. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I would want him at the 3.
I like RJ. I like RJ at the 4.
Because he's getting a little slower. He's still about right with RJ.
I mean, he is.
I like RJ at the 4.
It's true. It's true. I can't deny it. But Youth is on his side. Oh man, I was just gonna say and the 3-pointer, he got the competition there, so he could, you know what I mean? Like he has to improve the three because now with DiVincenzo here, I mean, quickly Grimes, those are guys that could fight for his time. You know what I mean? If they're shooting the ball well and they're traditionally better shooters.
And just for a comparison, right? I mean, this is wow. I didn't realize he played this many years ago. I saw this guy play when he was in high school. He's played 11 years already.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Tobias Harris shot 50% from the field and 39% from three, and he's getting 6 rebounds a game almost. And that's
this past season.
This past season, and he's and scoring just under 15 points a game. Like those are the exact type of numbers I'd love from RJ. I don't care that you score 20 points. Score 15 points and do it at 50% and 39 from three. Woo! That's a season.
I was just listen. It's RJ appreciation. I was just trying. You know what I mean? I was trying to keep that positive energy. Your man missed one shot. You know what I mean? Came back, brought the team back. They was down. You know what I mean? Brought the team back, brought it to overtime, brought it home for him.
Nah, and
you know what I mean?
And we'll swing it back to something positive. And I'm with you, Tom. Amazing.
And these seriously though, these games mean something. And then moving forward for sure. You know what I mean? Like Canada hasn't been in the Olympics since like 2000. You know what I mean?
They got a stacked team. They got a stacked team. They got a good team.
They finally have an opportunity. So and they could be a threat. You know what I mean? Like I don't think they would beat us, but you know what I mean. I was just watching Hoop Collective. They asking is Shea the best guy in the tournament? You know what I mean? Now that Giannis is out, Luka's out, whoever else is out. You know what I mean? They bringing up that question: is SGA the best player in the tournament? Like remaining. So
valid question.
If it's an argument, you know what I mean. Usually the team that wins has the best player, right? I don't know if that's true in the World Cup per se, but that's the saying. So these are meaningful games.
Canada they have an excellent team, and SGA is very arguably the best guy remaining out of all the players. So, listen, of course we want to say it's JB.
I mean, that's the transition right there, man. That's the transition right there because it was gonna get brought up anyway. You know what I mean? It was gonna be brought up. Is he the best player on Team USA? Because that's another conversation that was brought up today on ESPN. I heard Perk saying absolutely, or at least by the end of the tournament, we will be saying that. Somebody else said Anthony Edwards. And I think everybody kind of has a fair argument. I think you could argue for Brunson, you could argue for Ant, you could argue for BI. You know what I mean? I think there's like three, 4 guys you could probably them three that you can make the argument for based off what we've seen so far. But my argument would be Jalen Brunson's also running the show. So he's contributing to what we're seeing from Anthony Edwards. He's contributing to what we're seeing from BI. I mean, you can make the argument both ways about all of them. They're contributing to what we're seeing from Brunson, but we've seen this from Brunson already. You know what I mean? We've seen it from him in the playoffs. We've seen it all last season. So, I mean, I'm just coming to the understanding this is who he is. It's hard to even make an argument on him improving because of how good he is. Like I've said it before, if he improves, I'm going to be mind blown. You know what I mean? I'm going to be astonished because he's already that good or already. You know what I mean? Like
that's a fact.
I've been watching the Knicks for a long time. You know what I mean? Like I know the dark days cloud my judgments at times. You know what I mean? But I mean, Brunson's the best we've had since, and you know what I mean. You could fill in the blank, but it's only going to be about two, max three different names that other people will say he's the best since. You know what I mean? And a lot of it is going to be Clyde. So
Right.
It wasn't a long stretch, but Starbury had his moments.
he
Yeah.
was my argument. He was my when I answered it, I said Marbury.
No,
But
it's,
you know what
it's
I
the
mean?
best, definitely the
I
best
ain't
since
mad at
Marbury.
nobody.
Definitely the
I
best
ain't
since Marbury, but Marbury's run was just, I guess it wasn't long
clouded.
enough. Yeah, it wasn't long enough. It ended with so much drama that it's kind of hard to say he was the guy like that. But but Marbury, he did his numbers here.
So he had 21 points, 22 points. I think he was 9 for 9. I think he was 2 for 2 from 3.
Mhm.
Uh he's leading, man. He's been called the leader by Steve Kerr. He's been sung praises by his teammates. What are your thoughts on the latest performance? Any takeaways from it? I mean, it's almost like what can you say, right?
Yeah.
Nah,
I'm not surprised, and we get a sense of who he can be with better players around him.
mhm.
And so, hopefully, a few players on this team. The team seems to be pretty set. So hopefully, a few players on this team take another step, and then we can see this Brunson on our team as well.
Big facts. Big facts. Nah, Brunson's locked in. Brunson's locked in. Um, you know, Grimes, RJ, Randle, Mitch. It's up to you guys now. It's up to you guys now. We see what we got with Brunson. So you guys got to step it up. But I would say though, for the best player on the team, I guess thus far in the tournament is one thing, or the exhibition games is one thing, but I would say Bridges is the best player on the team.
Somebody made that argument as well on the Hoop Collective. It was Anthony Edwards, Mikal Bridges, and JB. Uh,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean not Hoop Collectors, ESPN, whatever show it was with Perk.
that's definitely the guy I'm taking if I had to take one player, and I don't know if it's too early, but that's definitely the guy we need to be recruited to this team. However that happens.
I mean that's the next segment. We're gonna get to that in one question. I mean 1 second. Josh got a question, so I figure we go ahead and answer it. He says,
Julio.
"Have you ever thought that international play may hurt us during the season, specifically with Brunson and RJ, as far as fatigue?" And just want to hear your thoughts. I'm gonna go first and say not at all. I think it's actually gonna be great prep for RJ to be ready to jumpstart the season. Like considering he's always having these slow starts, so I'm definitely, and like I mentioned earlier, these are prideful games. So I think in the past, not saying he wasn't playing hard or they wasn't playing hard. I don't think they had the type of spirit and will to win, and they really want to prove something this year in particular, um and qualify. So
Mm.
I think that's gonna be, we're gonna see the best RJ we've seen as far as Olympics. You know what I mean? Hope maybe ever, but you know what I mean. That's he's gonna be on his A game, and I think it does translate directly into the season. Brunson just looks better, so I feel like this is helping him. Sim made the joke he had to fit into the wedding suit.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why he lost the weight. But I mean, it's very noticeable that he's slimmer, he looks stronger, and it took him a little second in the beginning of the year to get into tip top game shape and performance. So if I think it gets them ready. Long term, I mean, unless you going deep into Tibbs and rotations and this, that, and the third, I hear you, but I think we have more options for at least Jalen Brunson to get some rest. I don't know how many options we got for Randle to get rest, but I think we have a few options of spot minutes, and quickly is more than capable.
Yeah, listen. If you on top of your game in the off season, you should be playing arguably this amount of play anyway. It's not like they're playing all day, every day, back to back games. You know, I mean, listen, the first exhibition game for US wasn't particularly extra tough. They play for a couple of weeks and then it's over. You know what I mean? It's not like, they're playing the entire summer all the way through training camp. They're gonna have plenty of time off between between the end of this tournament and when the season starts. I mean, the way Tibbs plays minutes for guys, yeah, you might want to be concerned, but I think Hart's gonna earn his minutes. RJ will get a fair share on the bench and quickly is dependable and reliable. And if Brunson needs a night off or he needs to play a little less minutes here and there, hopefully we get some blowout wins because we got a better team this year. You know what I mean? I think we'll be fine.
Quint.
Yeah, I'm not concerned. Like DJ Shuttle said, it's not like it's a grueling season for them. They're gonna play 10 games maybe if they make it all the way to the championship game. No, I'm not concerned.
And Josh says he doesn't have an opinion either way, but loves the fact that Brunson's getting the attention nationally that he deserves. To me, that is actually one of the biggest perks, or if you will, of like what Jalen Brunson could come back with, and to me, it's gonna actually be the respect or recognition, especially they get that goal. He keeps playing and the way he plays. I think now we're not talking about all star snubs, or all NBA snubs. I think he starts getting that recognition, nationwide, worldwide, on top of that. So
And stuff that you can't really qualify is Brunson playing well, getting the goal like you mentioned. That trickle effect means more time on ESPN, more articles, more publicity, which means you're more of an attraction now for players that want to get out of their current team and go someplace else, or even if they're free agents next off season. So, just the attention, the spotlight, and the recognition that the brand as the Knicks get by you representing the team, and again with a Hart not even playing a whole lot. Hart's just kind of one of them guys that, he'll find his way in the camera. He'll give some good quotes, and he'll have a vibe like, yo, son is cool. I could see me fitting in with him and those guys over there. You know what I mean? And he just has that kind of vibe and energy. So, we need everything. We need everything positive that we could get. You know what I mean? We need everything positive we can get. So we're gonna take all of that.
I mean, not for nothing. This year, like coming into the season, I'm not like out here showing it, but this might be low key the most excited I've been, because it feels like a lot of things are just lining up, falling into place. You know what I mean? Like it's so organic, if you will. Um, Time spent. Like this team has been together for some years now. They have those things that build character. Like they had the ups and downs. They had they turmoil. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like all that stuff.
It means something.
It makes you stronger, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And a lot of times, going through those things, you got to go through them to become the person you end up becoming in life. And I'm sure it's the same on the basketball court. You talk about what Randle went through. I mean, I would have swore I mean, and I'm not saying went through like he had no fault. You know what I mean? I acknowledge his faults, but what he went through, I didn't think there was coming back from it.
Nah,
you know
like
what I mean? My only argument was if he can come back from it, you know what I mean? I like to see him, do it or try it. And to me, he did. You know what I mean? Granted, he got this playoff cloud riding over him still. You know what I mean? He got to get rid of that one. But that regular season junk, you know what I mean? Like I think he got that in the bag. Like he and I think a lot of fans reciprocated. They respect back to him. You know what I mean for his work.
yo, Tone, to your point, man. I didn't even think about that, but we had the old head season, which kind of exceeded expectations. I think anyway. But that season aside, even including that season, I can't remember coming off the season that the prior season and looking forward to the next season, where it's really been this positive. Like it's literally hasn't been this positive since like I don't know 99 maybe.
The worst thing I could think about is the Fournier's, comments and quotes. That little situation to me is it's not that big. I spoke about it because it's content. You know what I mean? But I don't think. Well,
That's
I don't
that's a
think it's
minor
that big for the simple fact the solution. He's not going to be a problem in the locker room because he don't got to be in the locker room. You know what I mean? So that's my thoughts on that part. But yeah, that's been the most negative thing. You know what I mean? We've been talking about or faced with even after we made the playoffs a year ago. The first year, me, Mr. Whatever. I felt like we overachieved then. You know what I mean? And I felt like there's still no guarantee moving forward. I was happy with the results, but as far as just making that next step, I wasn't sure. You know what I mean? I thought we might take a step back, which we obviously did. I didn't think it would be that bad, but I didn't think it was that progressive next step. This year, I feel like we could do better than last year. You know what I mean? I feel like record wise, we could be better than last year. Position wise, we could be better than last year. And then results in the playoffs, obviously, I'm banking on us doing better. So, I want to add anything?
Just a quick sidebar.
Oh.
Happy to see all the turmoil in Philadelphia, making me feel even better that this could, be a number 3 or a number 2 seed very, very strongly.
we about to get into that right after this recruitment segment. But
I wanted to say, keep in mind the USA is not the favorites to win the tournament.
Well, they are now after beating Spain.
After beating Spain, they're the top. Listen,
but that's another. You know what I mean? That's another thing. I think it's the first time I've ever heard them not being the favorites.
Well, they finished 7th last time in the World Cup. I don't think. Listen, Spain is going to have something for. I think Spain is a very good team. I'm not taking anything away from USA, but they reminded me of the Knicks. Like when their shots was going down from the perimeter, they was able to pull away. They looked really good. Those shots stopped falling. I guess that's for any team. But I don't see a lot of star power on USA. Is going to be a team effort for sure. It's going to have to be a team effort because those guys they're playing against, a lot of them play together throughout the season.
Regularly,
that's the thing. But Tone, to your point before, just that the players have a lot to prove.
Right.
They're taking this very, very seriously. They know like how they're going to be perceived and looked at is all at stake, and USA team and RJ Barrett. Like, listen, come back to your season training camp beginning of the year with this competitive edge that you typically may not have on most regular seasons. So, yeah, I mean Brunson and Hart. I mean they're already pretty strongly competitive guys. So I don't think it does a whole lot for them, but hopefully for RJ for sure.
And here's the thing. Oh man, did I lose it? I think I lost it. Oh, the coaches, they taking it serious. You know what I mean? Like at halftime, Spain start coming back. 8-man rotation. Guys, it's not everybody get their shot. You know what I mean? We try to win this game. We the best, the creme of the creme of the creme of who's here is playing, and this is why. I mean, I felt bad for Hart. You know what I mean? Because he's one of the guys that didn't get to come back in, but I mean that just shows the coaching, even in these exhibition games, is serious. Like he pulled the Tibbs out. So we'll go with 8. So
Man, I remember as a kid, there'd be 7-man rotations. So I mean, I don't know why people was tripping, but I guess it's the new NBA, the new fan. I don't know. I remember 7-8-man rotation was a regular thing. 1 guard, 1 forward, 1 center. That's it.
All right, we're gonna name 4 players, if you have 4, on the USA team that you would want Brunson to recruit, right? We're gonna
4?
rank the. We're gonna not like all 4, but top 4.
Okay.
All right. Honestly, it's top 3, and then it's honorable mention. Okay. Now, your honorable mention could be because it's unrealistic and you don't think it's possible, or it could be just the 4th guy, but you prefer these 3 guys first, right? Let's all name our 4, and then I just want to see if we come up with the same 4, and if we do, we'll go through where we rank them and why.
I gotta see if there's 4 that I'm. Yeah, I guess I could come up with 4.
My 4 is Mikal Bridges. Is he on everybody's list?
Yes.
All right, so we'll start there, right? Now, for me, I put him in my honorable mention, and that's only because, like I said, I don't feel like it's a realistic. I don't think Brooklyn's doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I also don't think he is the force my way type player. I do think if it came to it, he may ask, but I don't see Brooklyn moving him right across the street. So that's why I put him on my honorable mention. But you guys, you tell me, where'd you put Mikal on your list? You muted, Queen.
Can we get the 4 first?
Oh, okay, yes. My other one is Antman. Damn, did I lose my list? Oh, JJ, Triple J. Who's my other guy? Oh, BI. So those are my 4: BI, Antman, Triple J, and Mikal.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I like Cam Johnson as well, but I don't know if I would put him above any of those guys. And I forgot all about Jaren Jackson Jr.
All right. So just to be honest, Cam Johnson was my guy, but I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember. And Triple J popped into my head, and then but I agree. I wouldn't put Cam over any of those guys. So, yeah. Who's your 4? Shut up.
Well, when you sent me that, I looked at it more like not just like my 4, like ranking my top 4. It was more like, all right, well, like rank your 4 most realistic possibles.
Okay.
Realistic. I don't know if there's if there's anybody in the list.
Well, okay. So I feel like
from USA though.
from USA, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So now even so, Cam just got a new contract, so that makes it probably not very realistic. It's not realistic immediately anyway. But even though, yes, it is far fetched that Bridges would get dealt. I mean, listen, if they need a point guard, you throw them quickly, you throw them RJ, whatever picks it needs to make happen, get it done. So that was my number one, but I kind of see that as unrealistic. Anthony Edwards, I'd love to have him, but man, we just signed DiVincenzo, we got Grimes. I mean, like, what are we giving up?
Who you said?
Anthony Edwards.
Listen.
That was one you said. That was
Wait,
one.
wait. Who was before him?
I said Bridges,
Okay, Bridges, your number one.
and you said Antman too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so Anthony Edwards, in an ideal world, he will be my number two, and and you'd have to trade Grimes and whoever else you would need to make that happen. 2B would be Brandon Ingram, just because you could swap him out for RJ Barrett and whatever else you would need to make that happen. I guess Jaren Jackson does play center, but I guess I see him more as a power forward. But yeah, I mean that would be a great number four if we living in a hypothetical world here. Trade him for what? Mitch at center, Mitch and some other pieces. Sure, make it happen.
I mean, I think no matter if we got anybody on this team, it's gonna cost us. You know what I mean?
Value.
A lot. You know what I mean? It's gonna have to be. You're gonna have to woo them. But I think we have the assets to do it if we felt like one of these guys might be the final piece, and the window still is wide. You know what I mean? It's not like final piece but finished product. It's final piece, but they're still growing and getting better. Together type situation because all these guys are young. So I had Mikal as my honorable mention, which really means he's first, but I don't think it's realistic. Two, one, I put Brandon Ingram mostly because I feel like it's the most realistic. So I feel like that's the reason it's one. Um, Two would be Triple J, Jared Jackson Jr. I feel like he's the second most realistic, partially because of the CAA ties. Um, I love the fit. I'll get into why in a second, and then Antman was my third. He might be my first if I felt like it was realistic. I just feel like other than Bridges because he's in Brooklyn, I think it's gonna be hard to get Ant Edwards. But I'll tell you why in a second. I'll let you get your list, Queen, and then go ahead.
You know what? I wasn't even thinking about Jaren Jackson. I really like him at center. I would really, really like him at the center position. I like Anthony Edwards too. I think it's a tie for me between Edwards, BI, and Jaren Jackson. I see any one of those guys being a really, really good fit on this team. Um, Anthony Edwards is on the upswing. I think he's going to be a star if he's not already. And when you listen to him talk, he does. We heard this from Barrett though, but I do think this is going to happen with him. He wants to be a two-way player as well. I don't know if that's going to be possible given his usage, but he wants to be a two-way player. You put him next to Brunson, my goodness. I like BI's fit with Brunson and Randle. I really like that. And Jaren Jackson instead of Mitch. I mean, the only thing about Jaren Jackson is he's not a great rebounder, but Randle would take care. Randle would take care of that. But you have somebody who could stretch the defense and block and rim protect. it's hard to find those types of guys. I think he would change things for us as
All right,
well.
let's do this. Let's each pick one and give our reason. I don't not necessarily package. If you want to give the package, that's fine. But let's make our argument as to how we could get those. Yeah, so we got to put the package in there. So what would you be willing to do? And let's put our GM hats on. Like, let's try not to be homers. I mean, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. How and I'll go last. So I'll pick somebody you guys choose not to pick. You can pick whoever you want off your list.
All right. I guess maybe I'll go. I'll go first.
Who you picking though?
I'll take. I'll take Brandon Ingram.
Okay. Who you got, Queen? It's just so we. I'm sorry, Shuttle. It's
so
unfair
because we don't do the same thing. So we don't.
Yeah,
right.
we could think about it before. Shuttle, you could think now while we try to come up with our.
I'm gonna take Anthony Edwards because I just think Jackson is gonna be harder to put together a package. I'm gonna take Anthony. I would take Anthony. I mean, I know that one would start with Mitch. I'm gonna take Anthony Edwards.
All right. As of right now, I'm taking. Yeah, I'm taking Triple J because I can't even. Like, it's gonna cost everything to get Macau. So.
You think it's gonna take more than to? Well, I think
because of the situation. Yeah, because of the situation,
right,
not value for value. Just you know what I mean, trading them across the street.
Right.
And then the rumor that they already turned down the 4 first-round pick. You know what I mean? Like to
3,
me, they put
Scoot
3
Henderson and
3.
If it was true, the number 3 pick, which turned out to be Scoot Henderson from Portland,
3.
and was it Anthony Simons?
I don't even.
Scoot I'm like, hold on. I mean,
you said you want to go
that one.
You want to go first, Shuttle?
Sure.
All right. You got BI. Make your I don't know if you want to give Brunson's pitch, but you just want to do the trade scenario. If you don't want to do Brunson's pitch, I got something for you.
Yeah, you have to let me do that. I'm already in the trade machine. Okay, so Brandon Ingram's at $33 million a year. So it looks like you gotta include something like that. Okay, let's try this trade.
You getting official? Okay, TJ, shut up.
Well, I mean, you gotta have a small forward. So the pitch is, listen, you throw the rumors out there, you put in the news, listen, Duke players, RJ Barrett, Zion potentially playing together. So you get the whole Duke, Zion, RJ hype going, and you put the pressure now on New Orleans to have to do a deal like this. Obviously, New Orleans is not going to want to trade Brandon Ingram, so you're going to have to overcompensate with a couple of draft picks. And while they do have a decent roster, Daniels is cool, and Kira Lewis is decent. I don't really see anybody that looks like a clear-cut, definitive point guard for this team. So, regrettably, I would include Quickly in that deal, and I would send RJ and Quickly to get Ingram, and I don't really see CJ McCollum as a point guard. I don't know if they see him as a long-term point guard there, and he's definitely not coming here. $35 million a year for 3 years. Forget about that. So yeah, I mean, so I'd be looking at RJ and quickly for Ingram, and whatever other pieces we need to potentially do to make the numbers work out, and they could get a couple of picks with that.
I ain't going front. I ain't extremely mad at that. Quickly I feel like has the most potential out of our young guys. I'm not the biggest RJ trade RJ guy, but I think it works as far as the fit. Um, I think we'll be banking on DiVincenzo to step into that quickly role, both offensively and defensively. But yeah, I think I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, and I would consider, you know, um, if I don't know if possible, something um, where maybe getting Alvarado or getting Kira Lewis back in the deal, so that we've got a little bit more point guard depth as well.
Queen, hold up, let me
Well, let
see.
me just. Mhm.
Now, go ahead. What you was gonna say?
I'm just gonna say this first. I'm looking at it from the perspective of both teams. I think as Knicks fans, sometimes we think we're just gonna give up like one or two players and some second round picks, and the other team is gonna give us their best player. So if let's just say Anthony Edwards axed out and the Knicks were in position to trade for him, the Knicks would
Mhm.
have to be ready. This guy is a budding superstar. Um, so I would be willing to give up IQ, Grimes, and RJ, and I know that's a lot. Um, and draft picks because I feel like this guy has a few All NBAs in his future, and I
If
just Mhm.
My only question would be if they want the return that they gave out for Gobert, as far as draft compensation, are you going that far, or you?
I think those are three quality players right there. So I don't think if I'm giving up those three quality players, I still then got to give up 5 first round draft picks. That's just me. But I will say this: I'm willing to pay, and some people would consider it an overplay for a young player that's not even in their prime, whose trajectory is star. I'm willing to pay for that.
um Real quick, just to add to Shuttle's thing with I felt like the reason why he was number one for me, and I felt like he was the most realistic. Like you mentioned, the pitch of RJ and Zion. Get RJ could get Zion right, whatever, however you want to go across that. But the I think Bi would be one. I mean, you could take this as a good or bad, but I think he would be one to voice that he wants to move on, or try to dictate where he goes. I mean, obviously, I'm saying he would want to come here. I don't know that, but I feel like he's that type of person. Um, and then to add to you, Queen, I feel like Anthony Edwards is that person as well. He's very vocal, like he speaks his mind. He's professional, you know what I mean, but he knows how to stir the pot. Let's say that, you know what I mean. Even with saying things in the without it being negative or taken negatively, he knows how to stir the pot. So I think he's another one that, you know what I mean. He may not be too specific, but he'll let it be known that he wants to move on if he wants to move on. At least that's the personality I take from him.
Patty Cakes, please listen. I was talking about Anthony Edwards, not Brandon Ingram's.
What he said? What he said? Put it up there. It's okay.
No, I'm not. I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to give
Well,
voice to certain comments.
um, Can somebody pull up Jared Jack's contract? I don't know what he makes. Um, that's that's the guy I'm going with. The pitch is easy. Like we need a stretch five.
Oh my!
You,
I mean, we talk about who would transform this team the most.
Yeah, he might be the guy. He might,
but he's not as. I don't think he's as good as, say, for example, Anthony Edwards. But what he would do for us,
it's fit. It's fit. It's not best player available at this point. Like,
not bad. 4-year 100. He shot 4-year, $104.7 million contract. Let me see how much is left of it.
Yo, he's got a declining contract. He's at 28 million, 28.9 this past season. Next 27, 25.5, and then 23.4. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I might at that point I might do Mitch and Quick now. Like make and again, look, you talk about other than Brunson being the best player on the Knicks, those are my two favorite players.
They don't need Quick.
No, I mean
they might. I mean, he already out 25 games. They might.
They got Marcus Smart.
I mean, I think I would have taken Quickly over Smart at this juncture, and betting on the future and everything else.
That's a tough one. That wow. I hear you. I mean, yeah.
But if it don't take if Quickly don't work, whatever it takes that works. I ain't know he was that cheap. You know what I mean?
And he has 3 years under contract because he just played the first year of that contract last year. So he's under contract for 3 more years. Then he becomes an unrestricted free agent. And at the last year of that contract, it's a descending contract, 23-4.
Yeah, I do that in a heartbeat. And Mitch is my guy, but we're not losing defensively with anything. If any, you make the argument, you gaining it. As far as my pitch to them, I mean, I'm telling them that you're not losing as much defensively, at least. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to sell them on that point. Like you got a potential defensive player ranking guy. You know what I mean? Top 5, top 3, whatever. If things pan out, you got to give them some offense with that.
No, you would have to literally have to be Mitch and RJ.
Ain't that too much? Mitch RJ contract goes up this year.
Yeah, no, you'd have to take something else that they don't really value in return, because they could stand to use an upgrade at small forward. They've got John Conchar. You know what I mean? This guy is, not really, 5 points a game last year.
I wouldn't want to move RJ because I would like to see how he performs as well as Randle with the middle. You know what I mean? The center opened up a little bit. I think that'll benefit both of them. But I mean, if it costs,
but
if RJ is who they wanted,
if you're trying to make a deal, here, that's going to be hard to, for me, if I'm going to give up Jackson, all you're giving me is Mitch and no other scoring. I mean, you're going to lose a lot of scoring with Jackson in that deal, defense and scoring. So, they've got to upgrade at the small forward position.
But this is the thing. They're going to need shooting and spreading the floor too. Morant is not a really good shooter. Though I saw some improvement in the games that I've watched. I don't know what his stats are, but he doesn't seem to be a really good shooter. Then you're going to put RJ there, who's not a really good shooter, and Mitch. That's really clogging it up
Yeah, welcome to
tossing
the
it up
next.
for them.
Welcome to the
Welcome
next.
to the next world.
Welcome to the next.
I mean,
Now, when you
I
say
don't
it,
know.
when you put the players on another team, amazing how clear and evident it looks.
Right.
If they take Fournier and Mitch, I'd give them 3 picks.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
I compensate with the picks. You know what I mean?
Maybe they could start Evan Fournier at this small forward.
They got to. I think we would have to take something else back to make the salary match at that point. Um, any concerns? Let's say he is out there recruiting, right? Any concerns of chemistry and continuity, which I think is going to be two of the biggest factors of why we're going to be so good this year. Any concerns with disrupting that?
You mean if
Um,
we were to bring somebody in?
because I mean, no matter what, it's gonna cost, right? Like, we just talked about 3 potential scenarios that we would be willing to do, but any concern with
I
just
mean, if it's Mitch and Fournier,
the team getting
if it's Mitch and Fournier, I have no concerns.
that's fair.
Um, I would
Like,
be willing to accept whatever disruption in chemistry would happen to get any one of those guys.
because it's like you talking 2 starters and a rotation guy, or you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
we I mean, other than the Fournier Mitch one, which obviously pipe dream, we talked about we talked about rotation guys. You know what I mean? So 2 for 1, 3 for 1, whatever it ends up being. That's a big that's a big change. I like the direction we're going. If it happens, we mad, but I'm not mad with letting this team grow. Let me definitely preface that because I think we're on a right path.
Right, because when we start talking about trading players, oh, you're not letting the team grow. You're the
But you got to ask yourself the question: is this team, as presently constructed, left alone, can grow into a championship contending team? To me, the biggest lever is Julius Randle. If we other than Julius Randle, I'm gonna say no. I don't believe it. I'll put it that way. I don't believe it. But
I
Julius
mean,
Randle,
do you? So you're. I understand what you're saying, but on the spot, do you believe in Julius Randle? Let's put it like that, because I do, and that's why I say yes.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that the Julius Randle we see in the regular season can be the same Julius Randle we see in the playoffs. I'm hopeful. I don't feel like that's just not going to happen. I just feel like he's had 2 seasons in the playoffs. He's had 15 games, one in which he was injured. There's still a possibility that he can become a playoff performer.
The reason I'm confident, and then we'll get into the James Harden quote, and we'll get out of here, or like the ramifications, and we'll get out of here. But the reason I'm most confident is, to me, it's about the more opportunities you get, right? Like, as we know, as Knicks fans in general, playoffs ain't no guarantee, right? Like, like we could have a 10-year drought, or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
For us, we know there's no guarantee that we're getting back. These players, I don't know if they look at it that way, right? They probably feel like they're gonna get back all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the more opportunities he get, you know what I mean, he's gonna break through. Even if there was something mental, right? Oh, we're in the playoffs. He's scared. Like, players will get over that.
Mm-hmm.
The more opportunities they have to get over that, right? And some of the best players out there have gone through that stigma, right?
Mm-hmm.
You talk about playoff P, like that was actually more of a mockery than it was anything else. You know what I mean? Like, they ran with that. Oh, playoff P, but when they use it, it's as a derogatory term,
it's
as
like
opposed to,
ha ha ha.
yeah. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if guys like Paul George could get over those stigmas, you know what I mean, and
Some would argue
others,
that he still hasn't.
I mean, that's a fair argument.
Some would argue that too.
I mean, if you taking that stance, I could see. You know what I mean? Like if I wanted to argue that point, I could, but I also don't discount the amazing things he's done in the playoffs, even before the stigma. You know what I mean? Like, so how does it come? Like he was doing good in the playoffs before the stigma. So how do you put that stigma on him? So that's part of my argument, even with the stigma in general. You
But
know what I
when
mean?
you
Like
say good in the playoffs, are you just talking about statistically? Or are you talking about him being um uh the best player or one of the top players on the team that moved on in the playoffs?
I'm talking about he was the best guy on the team. Like what he did in Indiana made him Paul George, made him the household name. He didn't come into the league like, oh, Paul
I
George number. You know what I mean? Like he made his name for himself based off of his playoff performance. Then he, you know what I mean? As time went on, it became the stigma for him. So that's the only point I'm
because
trying to
this
make.
is what I think happens. The deeper you go in the playoffs, the tougher it gets. And so a guy can be a good performer in the first round. As you move to the second and third round, you're playing tougher teams. That's why it's so hard to break through. That's why it took Giannis he was a playoff performer, he was a star, but his teams weren't breaking through. And he got a lot of criticism until he won that championship. And that's the same thing that's going on with Joel Embiid right now in Philadelphia. He's getting a lot of criticism for the fans for not being able to perform, not in the first round, not in the second round, but in the round that they need him to perform to take them to.
Well, no, actually in the second round because he never been to the
In the
conference,
second round. Okay.
right? So I
To
mean
move
that
to the car,
conference finals.
to take the
But
next
no,
step.
but even in that, right? He's getting the criticism now, deservingly so, no doubt about it. But that's part of what I'm trying to say. Like throughout history, you know what I mean? Watching the league, it's always been a hump, right? It's always been a hurdle. It might have been one team, you know what I mean? Like Jordan was that one guy for years.
Right.
For the
Right.
whole Eastern Conference, it was LeBron for some years. You know what I mean? Like it was like if you run into this hump, this hurdle, you know what I mean? These have rivalries were created from playing the same team over and over, maybe not being able to beat them 2 times in a row, then finally figuring it out. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff to me is part of basketball. That's the only thing. Like that's why I feel like it's an unfair stigma. I'm not disputing the stats that people want to put out there. The stats are the stats. They are what they are. But to
I don't
say
think
that
it's unfair though. I don't think it's unfair to expect the best player on the team to come up big in the moment. Like sometimes because you have to look at the series. Sometimes you can look at the series and be like, the team lost, but it wasn't because of so and so. They showed up big and the team just wasn't good enough,
nah,
or
you're right.
or
Instead of
something of that sort.
if he would have played this week, you know what I mean? Instead of that part. You know what I mean? I get it. I'm not saying it's unfair. That's what I'm saying. It's fair
Right,
criticism.
right.
I agree. I mean, like and you can't dispute the stats either. But
Right. Yeah.
I have faith. I think he's gonna turn it around. I agree with you. I think he's the
I'm
key.
hopeful as well.
You know what I mean? I think he's the key. But it's something about like I said earlier, going through what he's gone through in New York. Like most, I say 8 out of 10 people would have ran from. You know what I mean? They get me out of here. Trade me down.
They would have said trade me now, and they would have left last offseason, or they would have tried to come back and not been able to bounce back, and would have been traded during the season or this offseason, and you'd have just been trying to get a bag of peanuts for them, whatever you could take in return.
And
I
then
mean,
they would have been doing podcasts talking about how difficult it is to play in New York. Like it's one thing. He's been through the worst, bro. Like you know what I mean? Like it's very few people that have been through what he's been through in New York and would still be here. You know what I mean? Like and be willing to be here and want
he has
you know what I mean? Like want to just turn it up another notch. Like he has that in him.
he
So
has a smile on his face right now.
Who's that?
Randle. I mean, like he has a smile on his face. He's looking forward to the season,
Okay.
and
Let's see what
and,
happens
and,
when they get tough.
and if I had to bet my money, I take the bet he has another All NBA season.
I would too.
I take that bet.
I'm gonna give him one or the other. I don't know if he does them both. So it either be the All Star or the MVP. I mean, if he does them both, great. But I think he'll get one or the other.
I mean, even if he does it, because those you have to get voted. I just feel like whether he's voted on or not,
Yes,
his game is gonna.
deserving of it.
Yeah, I believe that Julius Randle that we saw last year. I just think that's Julius Randle. I don't like. I just feel like he's crossed over. That's who he is. I feel like the next step for him is the playoffs. I'm not really worried about regular season Randle at all.
All right. I woke up to the news with James Harden talk about Daryl Morey's a liar, and
You're a liar.
I'll never play for an organization that he's a part of.
Love it.
And then repeated it. Made it. Let me repeat myself and repeated it.
Double down.
What was your thoughts of it? Direct ramifications for him, for Philly, and the Knicks, if you think there are any.
Can I just say this first about like I'm so down on James Harden. I just feel like he forced his way out of Houston. He forced his way out of Brooklyn to Philadelphia. Now he's forcing his way out of Philadelphia to the Clippers. And by forcing, I mean any player can ask for a trade. But to me, he comes across as somebody is like, oh, you're not going to trade me? All right, I'm about to down these 6 packs of Intamin cakes right here. You know what I mean? Like you're just not going to get the best of him to the point where you're almost forced to comply with, his wish.
Can I play devil's advocate? I mean, we're both speaking from obviously not being Sixer fans, not being necessarily James Harden fans or wanting him to come to New York or whatever. So just from that perspective, and what if, now granted, what if a promise was made, right? What if he said, all right, I'm about to let's say, before free agency, it was made known we're not going to give you 4 years. I'm not even going to put a number out there because I don't know what the number is, but we're not going to give you 4 years. We'll give you 2, right? But prior to that, the promise was for longevity. Now you're reneging on one promise, right? I'm referring to him taking the less money, signing a 2-year.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So now you renege on one promise. Now it comes time to grant that. You say, no, I'm not going to do that. And I say, well, I'm going to go explore my options. Houston might be interested. Let's say, even if it's smoke screens, let's say Harden put it out. Houston's interested. But now Daryl Morey comes back to him and says, listen, I can't do it. The upper management, ownership is not going to approve it. They said 2 years. But if you just opt in, I'll get you where you want to go. We can't lose you for nothing.
Okay, I hear you. If that's how it went down, I understand.
Because I'm looking at the comments. You know what I mean? One, he called him out by name and called him a liar, right? Didn't elaborate on what he meant by that. But to me, those are powerful things to do by using the name and by saying you're a liar. That means you told me something that then either wasn't true or turned out to you not keeping your word. So I get the people that are down on James Harden. I know the optics looks horrible. It looks bad for the league. But I'm only going off of the words that he put out. That you are, Daryl Morey is a liar. Right. That's the only bail that I could give him in that type of like. I mean, and it's speculatory, obviously.
If that's what it was, I understand, because it can look the way I said it. It can look that way. Here he is again, forcing his way out because he doesn't like the team and he wants to go, somewhere else. It could look the same, but to your point, it might not be the same. It could be
and
what you said it was. So,
and just to go a step backwards, right?
mhm.
All speculatory. I have no proof, but let's say Maury put the battery in his back in Brooklyn. Listen, I want you here. Just do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Force you see what we dealing with on this side. You know what I mean? Like, but if you put up a little stir and stink over here, like you know what I'm saying, and then they gotta play ball.
Right.
And again, speculatory, got no proof.
I'm
Not a
gonna tell you.
Phillies fan,
I'm gonna
but
tell you how it is.
that's just the way my brain thinks sometimes.
Right.
Tone is an illmatic conspiracy theorist. He put all that together. Y'all don't understand the level that it took to put that all together. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna salute you, Tone, because I ain't give a damn. I ain't have a thought. You know what? I don't care because all I'm focusing on is how this benefits the New York Knickerbockers.
All right, you go right there because I think it does though. And I mean, again,
I'm saying all of it.
It takes a
All of it.
conspiracy, but I think it benefits us for sure.
I'm saying without even worrying about how it happened, why it happened, when it happened, did it initiate from Maury when he was in Brooklyn? I don't care. It all looks good. It all looks good in terms of benefit for the Knicks. And once I heard Maury, you're a liar, I knew it was drama behind it. No matter where it came from, when it started, how it started, it's like, oh man, you calling somebody by name and you calling them a liar in the public like this? This is definite drama. And all I can say is I hope Brunson got Embiid on speed dial. And when the ship starts sinking, and in the words of my man Sugar Ray, when the ship be sinking,
and it's
hopefully we got Embiid on speed dial and we making a power play.
It's messy. Like not for nothing. People talk about he has no leverage, but I think that was his leverage right there because he's basically saying, "I'll stay. I'll stay and I'll play if you fire him. If you take his word for face value, you know what I mean. I will never play for an organization that he's a part of. So if he's not a part of it, we can mend this. We can fix this." And then the first comment is Daryl Morey, you're a liar. I don't know. I just it's
I
I'm
love it.
glad it ain't us. I love it too. You know what I mean? We've gone through our nicks and bruises of front office guys in the media for all the wrong reasons, scandals and otherwise. So for it not to be us is awesome. I do think it puts pressure. Like we don't know what like maybe they fire Maury, right? Maybe they feel like that's the only option moving forward. It's not like I mean, he was here. He was brought in to kind of fix the process. Like he didn't start the process, but at the same time, track record, he didn't fix the process, right? And it's I don't know if this is as messy as the Ben Simmons thing, but I don't know if it's any better either. You know what I mean? Like, and this is your mess now. You know what I mean? Like this is your guy. This is like we may have had reserves to even go that route. We ain't know what to do, but you talked us into this one. You know what I mean? Like you had a track record, a reference point, and all this. So yeah, it's gonna get real messy.
How close is this to Porzingis drama when he was here?
I mean, I think it's the same vein. I think that's once I got out of my feelings with the Porzingis thing, you know, I felt like that was the best thing to do, knowing how not just us content creators, because I don't even know if we were, you know, as big then, but just the media in general would spin the ongoing drama of he wants to be gone and you know Phil Jackson and like we was going through a lot. Like the smartest thing for them to do was make a move immediately and not let it linger. They'll deal with the consequence rather than the problem, and then the consequence still has to come. You know what I mean? So I it took me a couple of days, but you know what I mean. I got over it in the moment though. Whew, traded him for what? Like But nah, I think it's the same vein. Same vein. I mean, Porzingis was potential. People will argue that James is, past his prime, past all that. Um, Again, just for the flip side of that is he when he plays when he doesn't have other MVP caliber players with him, we've seen we've seen him be the MVP caliber player. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
like, I don't know if he's done. That's all I'm saying. This is not
I mean, when
not
you look
saying
at
I
his
want him, but
when you look at his stats though, because when I look at him play, obviously he wasn't the James Harden that we remember in his prime. But when you look at his stats, they were still pretty good. I think it was like 10 or 12 assists per game
mm-hmm.
or something like that. So
Yeah,
if you're not looking for him to play, like if you're not looking for him to be a number one, it might work. The thing with Harden to me, and obviously I don't know him personally from the outside, it just looks like if he's not happy, it really impacts. It really impacts his game. I watched him in Game 7. I think it was Game 7, Philly, right before Doc got fired,
mm-hmm.
and it looked like he wasn't even trying. It just looked like he was like whatever, to the point that who's the assistant coach for Doc Rivers? Cassell
Yeah.
whispered in his ear. It seemed like he was saying, "Get him out,"
Mm.
or something like that. So I don't know. I don't know what that was about.
But yeah, love the turmoil. Definitely, whether it trickles down to Embiid getting upset or just contributes to the crumble of Philly and having them as less of a threat in the standings and the playoffs and everything else moving forward. It's beneficial for us. I'm gonna gloat. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna have fun with it because hey, we was the butt of jokes for years, right? It was hard being a Knicks fan for a long time. Whether it was just me going to work, wearing my hat, whatever the case, riding the train, and my own family members, making fun. You still following the Knicks, so yes, it is. We ain't win a chip yet. They better be careful when we win a chip. But I'm laughing at everybody else's pain as it goes, as long as it ain't
and that's how I felt.
detrimental.
That's what I'm saying, Tone. I didn't care. It was just happy to see somebody else with the drama, somebody else that a lot of people are predicting would be ahead of the Knicks in the standings. Let's see. They they had Sixers at 49 wins. So depending on where you're looking, you know, they got the Knicks at 47, 50, Philly at 50. But with turmoil like this, man, it's only bad things to happen to follow. And I'm here for that.
Right. If they don't trade Harden, he just he's not going to be the same guy. He's not going to be happy. And when he's not happy,
we've seen it. We've seen it.
Yeah, we've seen it.
And he might just sabotage the season because that
He's not
whole
above it.
that whole
That's the
CB
word, sabotage.
that whole CBA thing with the holdout agreement.
Mhm.
If he does it right, he'll show up. He'll do the whole training camp, do all that, and then as soon as game one comes, start my holdout. So now my 29 days start right now. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like that. Now y'all gotta figure it out without me for 29 days, and then I'll come right back. You know what I mean? And wait till the trade deadlines. So it's I
Yeah,
mean,
you don't want that type of you don't want that type of drama, but at the same time, if you trade him, you would want to do it sooner than later. So, you can have a training camp with, with
and
whoever
and
you bring it in. So you're right.
and that's why I feel
That would
like
work
that
for us.
that whole you lied thing is so serious because a lot of people have been making the argument, oh, if he had offers, he would have opted out, right? Which logically you would think that if the offers were available and he knew that he would have opted out. But I could fathom him wanting to do right by Daryl Morey and Daryl Morey saying, "Hey, yeah, I
Right.
got you all this money, all this time. I want to do what what I agreed upon, but they not, you know what I mean? My hands are tied. Don't let us lose you for nothing. I mean, we'll take what we could get, you know what I mean? But don't leave us stranded, and then this comes.
He only
I
has
mean,
1 year though, right? He's an
yeah,
unrestricted free
yeah,
agent at the end of this year.
yeah. But I mean,
Who's
yes,
gonna have money and yeah.
and
Somebody,
and
somebody's gonna
and
pay him.
if I mean that, and then there's another argument they want to keep him so him and Tobias uh expire together, and they have 47 million in cap. Once those two players come off the book, they'll have 47 in cap space to sign whomever. So I mean, there's a lot of behind the scenes thing. I'm not, so I don't like the players demanding where they want to go and hamstringing teams at all. But I also know that there's a other side to it that players have had to deal with for years and still have to deal with if they don't play their cards right. So you know what I mean. But I'm just glad it ain't us, man. Let's get Fournier out of here, and I think that's the last. Like that's the only thing we got really worried about controversy wise, and we could just keep building. Let guys get they try. If it fits, you leave them. If they don't, they get them out of here.
With Fournier, instead of not releasing him, buying him out, because that money could still go toward a trade. Just have him not report. Just have him stay home, as opposed to buying him out. Keep all the options open.
Yeah. Shout out to David. He said Tony on Fire created the Losers Lounge, my favorite post game show. Appreciate you. I think on Wednesdays I'm gonna start doing Knicks Fast Break. It's gonna be a short show, not the hour plus, what I mean, maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes, quick show on anything that's popping up. And then during the season, I'm working on some graphics to do a Knicks and Bruises injury report. That'll be a short, it'll be like a
Nice.
minute to 30 seconds, you know what I mean? Just updates if I get the news in time, who's injured, who's nicked up, who's bruised, who's out for the game and who might play through it. And I'm working on more stuff as well, man. You guys are inspiring me. I see the calling show. I'm like, I gotta step my game up. Oh, let them know. I know tomorrow's the show, but let them know where to find you, MBK and Dope Soul Sports Talk Shuttle.
Sure.
You let them know what you got going on, and we get out of here.
Yep. Dope Soul Sports Talk. We go on every Thursday for the Just Nicking It Weekly Show. We have a fan-focused series going on now called I Cram to Understand You. Shout out to MC Light. That call-in show is Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Tomorrow we'll be talking about Mitchell Robinson. So if you come on, you can hop on the panel or you can call into the show. And the idea is no pushback or not much pushback, just an opportunity to kind of voice your opinion other than in the chat where you only get 200 characters, and just kind of really talk about your points on why you like or may not like a player. Then Queen's Court will resume weekly in October, but I'll do a show in September as well, but it will resume weekly in October. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And hopefully
No,
you two can join us.
no
Continue.
doubt.
Yeah.
We'll keep it going. We'll keep it going. Shuttle, it's your next party. What you doing, man?
Saturday, I'm in Harlem for a day brunch, 2 to 7 at Corner Social. Right on.
Corner Social.
Yep.
And did
Yep.
you say you have something in October? Is it the same day as? Is it the 7th? You got something on the 7th too?
Of September.
Oh,
Of
September.
of October. No, if we were trying to plan something, I don't remember what that's about.
Okay. Yo, I know October 7th we got the MBK cookout. I thought you had something that same day or the next day, but
October 7th. Okay, we'll check the calendar and
They got more than one restaurant. I see one in this is in Queens. What you said in Harlem, Social Corner.
Social Corner is the one in Queens, and then Corner Social is the one in Harlem.
Corner Social. Wow.
Yes, you guys. Yeah,
so it's in Harlem. Those show up in Queens looking for DJ Shuttle. It's in Harlem.
And so, is there a cover?
Nah, no cover charge. They got a nice menu, and we got DJ Shuttle on the beats, and it's a nice mix. I'm playing R&B, playing some classics, throwback hip hop, some Afro beat. We mixing it all up, and yeah, and then I'm on every Friday on iHeartRadio from 8 to 10, and putting it down. I got the queen on the check, and as long as she get her reminders.
Right. But listen, if you miss your show, you can't go back and listen to it, can you?
No.
Okay.
Sometimes
that's actually a great point, and I'm going to talk to the owner of the station about that, because a lot of companies do take their shows, their podcasts, and then they upload it on iHeart. On Apple and things like that. So we haven't traditionally done anything like that, but it's a very, very valid step that we should take.
Yeah, because those 2-hour show, y'all be killing. And sometimes if I have something to do, I can't listen to the whole show. And I was looking for the hip hop show, the one you just did Friday, the next day, and I was like, man.
But they have a show of yours up there, right? On the website.
No. I have a couple of my recorded shows on my SoundCloud. Now I can download my recording. I can download all my shows. So let's say like you missed this one.
Can you download it, please?
I can.
Does it take a long time?
Nah, literally it'll take me 5-10 minutes to download it, and then
you gotta do that. You gotta download. So can you, like, on your SoundCloud? I guess you feel like I'm a DJ. I do this every week. I don't need to be downloading the mixes. But for the rest of us, though,
no. But see, and here's the thing, right? This is a little sidebar. I know this ain't really what the show is about, but this is why I never was like big into doing mixtapes, because I felt like you could just always pop me in and get me whenever you want it by saying, "Yo, I gotta tune in. He's on Friday 8 to 10. I gotta lock in."
Yeah, get that algorithm.
Right.
It makes it a more valuable. Like, you gotta actually book DJ Shuttle and go to the event and be part of the experience. Because if you don't book them, well, now if I got 1,000 mixtapes, what's the point of booking me? You could just say, "All right, well, now I got 1,000 Shuttle tapes. Let me just put these in, and I don't even have to book them and have them be here." Mm-hmm. So because of that, I just never was really a big fan of it. But during the pandemic, because of our situation being what it was, I started to record more mixes and put them on my SoundCloud. But I would do things like on my SoundCloud, I have things that I would be less likely to do in a live DJ experience. Like, I made a best of series, so I got best of Jadakiss, best of DMX, best of 50 Cent, best of Rock Marciano. You know what I mean? So I got things like, things you would not get if I was DJing live typically, but things that you might still enjoy. So that was my way of trying to compromise and, do what y'all want, but not give y'all everything.
It's nothing for free.
Right. This Corner Social 2 to 7, is it crowd? Like, is there a best time to get there? Do the lines be out the door? Like,
well, it's more of a cool out versus a turn up. So I think you probably would enjoy it. Not that you can't turn up, but you seen it. You like the cool out.
I like that. I just want to know, like, if you get there at 2, you're gonna be like around the corner trying to get in. So the best time to get there.
I have this other spot that I'm DJing, regularly. So I've been there a couple of times, and it's been rammed. I've been there a couple of times. It's been, you can walk in and you can get a seat. So
no way to tell. Okay, 2 to 7.
Yeah, 2 to 7. Get there early. Get home at a reasonable hour.
There it is, people. Go check out DJ Shuttle. If I was in the city, I'd be there. You already know. But
I'll put the live stream up and send you a link.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna let you know when I'm touching down, because I'm gonna be up there in September. So we'll link up, see if you got something going on.
Yeah, sound good. Sound good. And September 10th, DJ Magic taking it to the streets car show. DJ Shuttle, I will be on the set for that. So, you know, something that's family oriented, bring the kids out, yada yada. It's gonna be amazing.
No doubt. Shout out to the chat, man. Appreciate y'all for sticking around, tuning in. Replay gang. I know you always shout out the replay gang, but somebody just put it in my chat the other day, so I gotta start shouting them out too.
And shout to Patty Cake. She sound like she knows what time it is with Corner Social. So hopefully Patty Cakes will pull up. It'll be Nixon Bruises, Dope Soul, MBK fam, you know, connect this Saturday.
Hey, might bump into the Queen, you know. Queen, somebody run up on you. It's just for autograph. Yeah, it's just for autograph.
It's not in Brooklyn. It's not a sticker.
Oh man, I appreciate y'all, Queen. I will be there tomorrow. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know if I miss you and I see the notification, I'm gonna send you a text message, but I'm gonna try to remind you early. You know what I mean, and then you could just text me or email it to me.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we out of here. Appreciate y'all. Your Blackest Time. I'll see y'all Wednesday for Knicks Fast Break.
All right. Peace.